Good day everyone. In this video we discuss about cognitive developmental theory of John Piaget. But before that, who is John Piaget? Piaget proposed the intelligence grows and develops through a series of stages. Older children do not just think more quickly than younger children. Instead, there are both qualitative and quantitative differences between the thinking of the younger children versus older children. John Piaget's theory focuses not only on understanding how children acquire knowledge, but also on understanding the nature of intelligence. Piaget believes that children take an active role in the learning process, acting much like little scientists as they perform experiments, make observations, and learn about the world.
As kids interact with the world around them, they continually add new knowledge, build upon existing knowledge, and adapt previously held ideas to accommodate new information, which is what we call schema. Schema is a mental codification of experience that includes a particular organized way of perceiving cognitively and responding to a complex situation or set of stimuli. There are two types of schema, the assimilation and accommodation. Assimilation is when the new information is incorporated into pre-existing schemas. Accommodation, on the other hand, is when the existing schemas might be altered or new schemas might be formed as a person learns new information and has new experiences.
The sensory motor stage is the first stage of four stages. Piaget uses to define cognitive development. Piaget designated the first 2 years of an infant life as the sensory motor stage. During this period, infants are busy discovering relationship between their bodies and the environment. They focus on what they see, what they are doing, and physical interaction with their immediate environment. Because they don't yet know how things react, they constantly experimenting. They shake or throw things, put things in their mouth, and learn about the world through trial and error.
Sensory motor abilities are those we utilize to develop our body's movement or motor reaction to the information we learn from our senses about the outside world. As an example, if you brush your finger across a baby's face, they will automatically begin sucking. They will also learn to wiggle their fingers and imitate simple motions like shaking and rattle. Sensory motor stage promote learning through exploration, curiosity, problem solving, and creativity. It promotes the development of language and motor skills in adulthood by assisting the information in the brain.
Pre-operational stage. Now we enter preschool stage, the John Piaget second period of cognitive development, the pre-operational stage. In the pre-operational stage, children begin to represent the world with images, words, and drawings. They can do a lot of mental things, which we discuss in two sub-stages, but they cannot perform yet operation. For example, 4 plus 8 and 8 minus 4. They can't reverse yet, they need an object physically. That's why in preschool we have these things called manipulative materials. Characteristic, the first one is symbolic function stage. Children enter the ability to mentally represent an object is not present. For example, a child play with a toy can mentally picture and experience the toy even after it has been taken away, and he or she can no longer see it. A child continues to play without a toy because she or he thinks that the object is permanent.
Egocentrism, memory, and imagination are developing. Children at this age are egocentric, which means they have difficulty thinking outside of their own viewpoints. For example, a child wants to be a doctor because his parents told him to. Now let's move on to centration. It only focuses on only one aspect of a situation at one time. When a child can focus on more than one aspect of a situation at the same time, they have the ability to center. For example, a child focusing on the number of pieces of the cake that each person has, regardless of the size of the pieces. Now let's move on to irreversibility. This is a stage where your child can't imagine that a sequence of events can be reversed to their starting point. For example, the child knows how to count 1 to 10 but don't know how to count it backward.
Animism is the idea that inanimate objects such as toys and teddy bears have human emotions and intentions. Piaget used the term animism to refer to the idea that the natural world is sentient, alive, and has a purpose for the pre-operational kid. An example could be a child thinking the sidewalk was angry and causing them to trip and fall. Or they may think the stars are pleased because they are twinkling in the sky. Transductive reasoning refers to the tendency of a child in the pre-operational stage of cognitive development to see a connection between unrelated instances, using neither deductive nor inductive means to do so. Transductive reasoning is characteristic of children between 2 to 7 years old of age. For example, the child might say, "I haven't had my nap, so it isn't afternoon." Another example is a child who hears a dog bark and then sees a train arrive. He concludes that the train comes because the dog barked.
At this stage, the attribute of children's cognitive developments becomes more concrete compared to the first two stages. The logical reasoning of a child develops at this stage and set of understanding concrete objects and situations only. The concrete operational theory suggests the characteristic of children falling under in this category, which are the decentering, the reversibility, the conservation, and laceration, which spread develop at the middle and late childhood, when children reach at a certain age of 7 to 11 years old.
The decentering characteristic under at this stage point out mainly the decrease of egocentrism of children. This is the opposite of egocentrism in pre-operational stage, wherein children at this stage focuses only on themselves. Kids in concrete stage are able to think about things the way that others see them. The reversibility, on the other hand, as well adverse of irreversibility in the pre-operational stage. This stage is an understanding of awareness of children that certain operations can be reversed, but still applies under only concrete situations. The conservation part explains that when something changes in shape or appearance, it is still the same. This contradicts obcentration from pre-operational stage where children only focuses on only one aspect. The last characteristic is seriation, which explains that children under concrete stage can arrange things in a series based on one dimension such as weight, volume, or size.
The formal operational stage begin at approximately age 12 and last into adulthood. As adolescents enter this stage, they gain the ability to think in an abstract manner by manipulating ideas in their head, without any dependence on concrete manipulation. During the formal operational stage, the ability to systematically solve a problem in a logical way emerges. Children at the formal operational stage of cognitive development are often able to plan quickly an organized approach to solving a problem. In the formal operational stage, children's thinking becomes more sophisticated and advanced. Kids can think about abstract and theoretical concepts and use logic to come up with creative solutions to problems. Skills such as logical thought, deductive reasoning, and systematic planning also emerge during this stage.
In this stage, people have to have a ability to systematically, in a logical and methodological way emerge. They can make right decision, and also formal stage is characterized by an orderliness of thinking and a mastery of logical thought. Allowing a more flexible kind of mental experimentation, the child learns in this final stage to manipulate, make hypotheses, and also this stage is able to think abstractly and to understand the form of structure of a mathematical problem, science problem, and all the subject of a student. And formal stage also part of the adulthood. In this development, people focuses more on their futures.
The importance of Piaget's theory of cognitive development in teaching and learning is that it suggests that teachers' role involves providing appropriate learning experiences and materials that stimulate students to advance their thinking. His theory has influenced concepts of individual and student-centered learning, formative assessment, active learning, discovery learning, and peer interaction. Cognitive development theory can affect teaching in the classroom as it encourages teachers to use concrete props and visual aids whenever possible. It helps them to make instructions relatively short using action as well as words. Cognitive learning theory can improve learners' comprehensions when attempting new subjects or tasks. With cognitive learning, students learn by doing. This hands-on approach allows learners to gain a deeper, more comprehensive understanding of new materials.